Yeah. Let's see if we can just do it here because look at her. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
she's adorable. She's so adorable.
What's her name?
Her name's Essex.
Essex. Okay.
And
Well,
she's been in my family before I was born. My father had her first. It was her first baby, his first baby. And he got her when she's around 3 or 4. So he didn't, I mean, he had elephants before he had kids. So that's that.
so crazy. Oh, this is just amazing. So let me quick do an intro. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Women's Maximum Fitness Podcast. This is a real treat. I'm so excited. I'm like bouncing around in my chair. So, Lauryn, let me quick explain. Lauryn and I met on Instagram because probably back in 2015-ish, 14, I had taken Anna to the circus and had posted on my Instagram about the circus. And Lauryn being, well, she'll explain herself in a minute, but I think she was following like an elephant hashtag or something like that. And some people started attacking me for supporting the circus and were saying, the elephants and the animals are treated so cruelly. And Lauryn, being in that field, went on to defend. And then she's so beautiful and is an aerialist and was working with the circus, I believe, too, before. So we're going to hear all about her background, but obviously this is one you're going to want to watch the video on YouTube because Essex is with her in the background. I just love elephants. So Lauryn, go ahead and give some of your background with the history.
Well, I grew up in both zoos and circus. I started in zoos when I was younger. And then we moved to circus because my father he didn't like the politics that goes on in zoos, and he just wanted to have his own. So in that time of the world, the only way you could have exotic animals is if you were basically in the circus. I mean, there was no facilities that you just had them at. So he joined the circus, which he did back and forth. I mean, all of it's interconnected. Believe it or not, most of the elephants that you see throughout all of the zoos first came from circus. Okay. And then I liked when I saw you. I think I was following not just a hashtag, but I'm into fitness big time. And I saw that you were all your fitness videos. And then I saw one of the videos that you put with the elephant, and I felt so bad because I feel bad when people without the knowledge post stuff and then get attacked because then they don't know what to do because they're like, I don't think that's true, but I also don't have the proof. And so I always want to come to their defense because I'm like, oh, I have the proof. I have a whole lifetime of proof. So let me help you out, because I feel like that's wrong. Yeah. I think it's wrong in so many ways to just attack somebody that you know nothing about and then attack the people that were on your feed and not know anything about them either.
Yeah. And I didn't, my thought was, well, I don't want to support this if it's bad,
Right. Which is it's a normal thought that any good-hearted person would feel. And that's why it's a hard fight, because when somebody yells at you discriminatory things and you're like, oh, that's not me, so let me try to fix it. You don't know any better. And that's the majority of the world we're living in. That's the sucky part of it.
Yeah. Well, and elephants being, oh my goodness, like, I mean, my top 5 favorite animals, they're so, I love the family around an elephant, so, yeah, I mean, if I had an opportunity like we did to go to the circus and ride on an elephant, I didn't think like, oh, this is bad for the elephant, or like, but you were saying, I'm supporting the family, and that you said,
yeah, you supported that family. It's a family-owned circus. Those elephants were family-owned by those people, and without having the revenue from the circus, they don't get to have a spoiled life. What people don't know is that these animals also have a giant facility when they're not working. Their life isn't just circus. I mean, her life is not defined by the show that she does. And the show that she does is like a 5-minute show. And then the ride she does is maybe for an hour. And then people are acting like that's her whole entire life. And I'm like, no. And that's one of the reasons I started social media, is because I wanted people to see the incredible life that they live. And one of the things that people are missing out on is these are migratory animals in general, right? They are used to traveling to just sustain. And one of the most natural things for them is to travel. And I mean, we have never been home for this long. We are home all year because of COVID.
Sure.
Both of us are bored. Both of us want to go somewhere. You know, I mean, we have a beautiful 37 acres here that she enjoys, but we are used to going to different places. And one of the exciting things for them is because they've grown up traveling, it's not a big deal. And when they get out and they're like, oh, look at this different place, look at this field, everything tastes different across the states. You know, if we go up to Kentucky, or if we go up to New York, or if we go to Wisconsin, the grass, the hay, everything out there tastes different. So it's exciting. And these animals get to do that all the time, and not at all is it stressful. It would be if we went and just took an animal right out of the wild, but none of the animals in the past 100 years have been taken out of the wild to do these things. I mean, it's been a long time since that's been a thing.
Yeah, you said that you've witnessed babies being trained to have baby elephants being trained for rides and stuff like that.
Well, when they're little, they don't really ride. You never ride them. But what you do is you just put like feed bags. You know how you have feed bags? They're like, you know, they're anywhere between 30 to 60 pounds, but you put feed bags on them. And a lot of the times they'll shake them off because they're like, woo. But you get them used to the feeling of having something on them as they're growing. You don't do it all at once. You never do anything all at once. Nothing ever happens overnight. I mean, this is dedication on a daily basis of your whole life. You basically have to dedicate your whole life to it, you know? And when my dad explains it, it's my favorite thing, because when they're like, well, how do you train an elephant and when are you done? And he's like, it's the same as raising kids. You're never done. You're always trying to help your kids out. You're always trying to, you know, teach your kids new things. It's the same thing with your animals. You're never done. It's not like you just stop.
It sounds I mean, it's very similar to fitness and bodybuilding as well too, right?
It's the fact that you do things when you don't want to.
Yeah.
You know, it's the dedication that goes into something when a lot of people like to have a social life. I mean, they really do. And I mean, this looks fun when I'm playing on her and they're like, oh, I wish I could do that. And a part of me is like, yeah, but do you want to clean the barn that she lives in the morning that's got, I mean, hundreds of pounds of manure? Do you want to be there late at night feeding when you can't go out with your friends? Do you want to be the person that stays here? Because no matter what, a person has to be here on the facility with her 24/7. She can never be left alone. That is regulation. So do you want to put those hours in, or do you just want to come and play? Because that's fun, but that's not what it takes to actually care for them. And that's not what it takes for them to build trust with you. I mean, she's awesome, but she doesn't, the relationship we have would never come from a day. It would, I mean, it took me all my life to get to where I'm at with her.
So you said she was with your dad. Sorry, she was with your dad first. So how old is she?
She's around 45, 46. She's around 45, 46.
And you just turned 36 this summer. I remember I saw
No, I'm 35. Yes, I'm 35. Whoa. Hold up. You scared me for a minute. I was like, did I turn 36? No, it's 35. I will be 36 this coming summer. Oh my God.
Sorry.
Jeez. I am done with this interview. I'm out. No.
It's so funny. It's so funny. Now, like, I think it's worse now, but when I was your age, I feel like, yeah, those are good years.
Are you not my age?
No, I'm 40. I'll be 45 in April.
Whoa! You just blew my mind. I thought you were my age.
Oh.
That is great. See, the thing about fitness is it's not like, it really is like something that just helps your whole body. I don't think it has anything to, I don't know. Fitness to me is such a mind thing. I love fitness because it makes me feel like when I take a whole hour to focus on my body, it's like it resets my brain to focus on the things that I need to do.
Yes.
Because everything else draws your attention. But when you have to sit there and you have to do repetitive motions, and it's like you're stuck in your own thought and you have to realign everything else that comes along, that makes things go more smoothly.
It's the best me time. It really is. You know, like you said too, you're in your head. You know, it's kind of like doing crossword puzzles for older people too. You're doing the same thing over and over, learning how to do something better. Yeah.
Are you able to go to the gym? I have not been able to go to the gym in a year. When I'm home, we live really far away from civilization. So I normally don't go to the gym when I'm home, but I really like I feel like the gym workout is different than a home workout always for me. And no matter what, I put my everything into a lot of things. I like the routine of the gym.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like it because I feel like when I get myself set and ready, I spend a whole 2 hours working out. When I'm home, I'll spend a whole hour.
Yeah.
But I let my kid distract me, and
I'm not one of those people that, like, I started out working out at home and it was mostly like arm exercises with some, I had like adjustable dumbbells, the kind that had the ends that spin on, and like the little easy bar. And I kind of started out with that. And then I was a runner, but
I
as soon
hate
as I
running.
started going, I know I don't run now either. No, my brother runs marathons, and I got into
That's
it for a
great.
little bit. I ran a half marathon. Actually, I mean, I'm sort of athletic. Whatever I do, I'm kind of good at, So I mean, I ran a half marathon. It was like an hour and 50 minutes, which I think is like a little bit above average, I guess. But I ended up having a lot of knee problems and stuff, and then I got into lifting.
That's why I don't running, because of my knees.
Yeah, I mean, long term, I know some people who can do it for, have done it their whole lives, or, years and years and years.
Yeah, but I find that every runner I know has an injury that they're always doctoring, and then they're upset that they can't run. I'm like, what is wrong with your brain that you need to run so bad? I'm like, what goes on in there that you're like, got to run away from it? Because I run for breathing exercises before I work and stuff, because I do think that it helps you expand your lungs to have a repetitive, because when I perform silks, everything about that is breathing, like, because you're trying to make everything look really beautiful. You have to make everything look beautiful while you putting everything into your like muscles. So I feel like having that lung capacity to breathe like that is healthy, but I hate running. Like, I hate it.
I could see with aerials how with the silks how you because it's a lot of bracing, right? Because it's almost like planking all the time. So I can see
Yep.
how breath control could be very is the core of all that. No pun intended.
Yeah, it is. I say all the time to people that ask me, like, I'm like, I could go through that whole routine and it could cost me so much littler if I made it just regular. If it wasn't pretty, if I wasn't pointed and collected and my body wasn't together, then it would go a lot faster and I would feel a lot less strain. But when you want it to be presentable and you want people to like looking at it, then it takes everything. And it's a lot of breathing for sure.
It reminds me of the posing routines that women's physique goes through, or even the fitness. The difference between so Missy Truscott was on I haven't her podcast will post on Friday, but she won the Olympia in fitness. And the difference between the routines of these pros and like people getting started is some looks more like gymnastics routines where they don't have that flow. And it's because I think there's not like you said, that control that's going on with like what you're doing, because you could flip and stop and twist and stop, but it's the fluidity that it's a lot of breath control, I think. And just
I always wanted to compete when I was home after my road. I really like to always have goals and like set different things, because I feel like I'm always accomplishing things and I get bored if I'm not trying to do something. And a lot of people have always told me to compete. They're like, you already have a really good upper body. And I'm like, yeah, I really want to. I would want to do bikini. I'm not too fond of getting huge, because I mean, I feel like my arms are already really big. But how long do you think it would take to get me into like shape for like a bikini competition?
I don't know what you look like now, but I think you're pretty lean most of the time. So, and especially it being your first show, I feel like my first show, I think I dieted like 10 weeks and I had to get leaner than a bikini athlete. So I would say for somebody like you, I mean, you're certainly not carrying a ton of body fat. So I don't know, probably like 12 weeks would be my guess. I always like to give it a little bit more just to be conservative, but
how cranky do you get when you're doing it? How cranky do you get?
I personally, do you get angry, or would you get angry when you're hungry? Because that's a pretty good measure.
You know what's weird? I I think what's funny to me is I don't usually get angry because I'm not good. I don't tell people diet advice because I'm like, I'm not a good person to tell you about diet because I honestly feel really good when I eat one meal a day. I know that sounds crazy, but I like one giant meal at the end of the day. I'll have a few things in the morning and then I just kind of go. And then at night I'll just eat pretty healthy. I mean, I'm not huge on carbs. I'm not huge on fatty stuff. I don't eat ice cream. I don't like eat sugar either. So,
Yeah.
but I don't think that that's a healthy way to live. I don't think people should be just eating once a day. So I'm always like, I don't know. So I'm not cranky if I don't eat, I don't think, but
Yeah.
I also have gone on extreme diets where it cut like a lot of things out, which made me pretty irritable towards like 3 weeks in. And I was really annoyed with that. And it changed immediately the second I put, carbs back in but I also don't know what would be, I'm not the best at dieting. So I don't know what would be the best route to take with those things. I'm sure there's ways around it.
Yeah, it depends obviously on the individual, but you don't have to ever remove carbs. I mean, essentially in designing a diet, you do about 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass. I'm so blown away by this video right now. And then,
I'm just shocked she's still over here because normally, I mean, she's got a whole field to be in right now. And she's just like, oh, what are we doing? It's an interview. I want to definitely be a part of this interview.
Oh, she's so attentive. That's amazing.
Yeah. She's more of like she's a very human elephant. She's very humany. She likes to be where the humans are.
Well, that's what I totally get sidetracked now, but that's what I lost you.
I know my phone just said low battery. Let's hope we got it.
Okay. All right.
Let's keep going until we figure it out.
Well, elephants are such social creatures, right? So I think that's one of the things that I love, So has she had babies?
So we were going to breed her when she was still young enough to have babies. We did the test to make sure because some elephants have ovarian cysts and they can't have babies. Yep. Other elephants are in good shape. She was really healthy and really in great shape. And the vet said she could absolutely have babies, but we had a lot of problems finding a sperm donor. We also had problems because my father got scared. An elephant that he also helped take care of that was a very similar age to her had died in childbirth, and it made him very worried because they're a lot like people where if they have babies when they're in their teen years up into their 30s, then they can, thanks babe, then they can have babies all the way into their 40s, sometimes even, 50s, but they have to start having babies young so that their body knows how. But when you start in their 30s, it's a little harder. Now, when we started looking into breeding her, she was probably just 30. So she was still in a good age, but still enough to where he was a little worried. So we looked and we tried for like probably 5 years. And then once she got to be like 35, we kind of gave that up. But I want a baby elephant more than anything in the world. The problem that we're facing right now is, so we're down to a very low population in the USA, right? And regulations just got higher and higher on how to breed and all that stuff. And we're down to, I think, 300 Asian elephants here in America, like around that, when we used to have so much more. And so like buying an elephant now is non-existent. That just doesn't happen anymore. And the breeding programs have gone down a lot. Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey was one of the largest Asian elephant breeding farms that we had, which was such a shame because when they went under, they kind of just ignored the elephant side of it and then sold them off. And now that whole mess.
Wow. Okay. Well, that sucks.
Yeah, no, it does. I try all the time. I'm always working on trying to change things. And what we need to do is there's a big ban in importing elephants. It's really hard to import them, but in Thailand and Asia, there's a lot more elephants, obviously, that could definitely find a happy home here in America where we have the means to take care of them. It's just about trying to lift certain bans to be able to get them over here. What people don't understand is the animal rights industry is what has really put a hinder on the future of domestic elephants. You know, they've really tried to put it completely out, because in their brains, they want all animals to basically just be wild, which is kind of a couple hundred years too late for that ideology. It just is. And now that we're in the place that we are in the world of overpopulation, we're looking at a species that actually needs our help now. And we have a large amount that are in domestication already, and it's already illegal to take them out of the wild. So why not continue to breed them so that we at least have the species, and also try to help the ones that are still wild and making sure that they still have places to be? Because right now, I mean, we can't control other countries and what they do and how they live. And we're overpopulating their migratory paths and cutting off their areas where they can get to other elephants to breed. We have inbreeding going on, and it's getting to be, that avenue is getting to be such a mess. And it's really sad, because instead of looking at the whole picture and saying, all right, we need to just breed as many as we can in captivity, let's work on doing that and making sure they're happy and healthy and put the right people in charge and do that, they're just turning their back to that and saying everything about that is wrong and we only want the wild. But they don't even care how little the wild is left and what problems they're facing there. And when you only try to deal with a subject with blinders on, you're never going to get further on. The same thing's happening for rhinos too. I love rhinos, like, with a passion, and I want them to also be bred more. And we have so little of them left as well for the same exact reasons. You gonna come back? She's like, I took a mope, I'm coming back.
Oh, Essex, hi, honey. Oh my gosh, she's just so cute. She's so cute. So what is the life expectancy then? How long do they live?
So it's always different. What's funny to me is people are saying that their life expectancy is 40 to 50, and that's ridiculous. But in a lot of zoos, that seems to be their lifespan is 40 to 50. They seem to die a lot faster in zoos than a lot of other facilities. Now, in circus, always 60 to 70, always. That's an average lifespan of an elephant, 60 to 70. And I've talked to a lot of people over in Thailand too, and the working elephants over there, same thing. Yeah. And my idea of it is that when you stop a very highly intelligent animal from having a purpose in a place, now when they're in the wild, their purpose and their job is to sustain and to survive. And believe it or not, they're working every day to do it. They're traveling miles to get enough sustenance to survive, because what they're eating is roughage that doesn't have the kind of nutrients that they're fed here in captivity. So they have to walk a long distance to get enough of it to sustain. It's their job. It's what's in their brain. It's what's moving them all the time. Well, you give them captivity, and although you're giving them all of the things they could possibly want, what is their brain doing? And when you don't interact and you don't challenge that brain and you don't ask them for things, it kind of just, your body, your mind, it goes to mush. If you just stick something in a yard and say, okay, that's all you have to do, and never interact and never challenge it, then it really has no reason and no purpose. And that's what my idea behind the whole lifespan of 40 to 50 is that when you stop giving an animal a purpose and a meaning and drive, they stop caring too. And once they stop caring, their body just starts to slowly shut down, and then they don't push forward. But for what I have seen in my whole life, elephants in the circus always live into their 60s, 70s. Ringling, I think, had one in their 80s. The oldest one on record was in Thailand, and it was in the 90s, 92. I think it was a male. But yeah.
So do you think that then there's an issue with zoos more than, I mean, should we not be supporting zoos?
No, I would not say, I would never say that, because I do think zoos have great programs that actually do help animals in the wild. They also are great for teaching children. I mean, I always think that. I do wish, it's hard to say stop supporting something, because no matter what, when you stop supporting something, you're still stop feeding something. You know, I always want to make sure animals are fed. That's my bottom line. I want them fed and housed and taken care of. And especially right now with COVID, every last animal facility I know is suffering big time, including us. I mean, all of our work stopped this year, and all of the elephants over in Thailand, all of their revenue is from tourists. They stopped too. I mean, we're all just trying to get by. So I would never say don't support zoos, but what I would do say is never support animal rights groups. Yeah. I would also say be careful of supporting just sanctuaries. Sanctuaries are, and here in the States, are just run by animal rights groups. Now, those facilities are making millions of dollars, and they're doing kind of the same thing as zoo does. They're completely hands off, and they, just leave the elephants, and hope for the best. They're run by volunteers. A lot of these sanctuaries don't have to have the same, you don't have to have the same credentials to work there, because it's just a volunteer based situation, because they're a sanctuary. And to me, I don't support any sanctuary because they're run by animal rights groups. But I do support zoos. What I do wish I could do, though, is I wish that zoos continue to stay hands-on. Hands-on is what you see me doing, is we work together. I go in with her and she can come out all the time. Hands-off is what they switch to. The majority of zoos are hands-off programs, meaning the animal stays behind the bars and you stay on your side and you don't interact with them. Now, zoos did this because it's a lot easier to interchange zookeepers. So if you have somebody that's got a connection with the elephant, works with the elephant, and you want to fire them, but you know that they're the only ones that can work with the elephant, you can't, you know. However, if the elephant stays on the other side and you just have it so where it moves and that's it, then you can interchange zookeepers and it's easy. And then you can also, your hands are clean from, if there's any incident of an elephant hurting a person, the zoo is not responsible because it's a hands-off program. But because of that, now you're dealing with less interaction, less, you're not doing the same kind of activities with them, and you're not challenging them the same way because you can't go in there, and it's a whole different relationship. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's different. And I do wish that they would go back to hands-on. To me, if you're going to have an animal in captivity, and this goes for almost all animals, this doesn't just go for elephants, all animals can be worked with humans. If they're raised with you and you work with them every day, I mean, gorillas, you can do it with all kinds of, all of them. Because I grew up with all of the exotics on the circus. Everybody, if something got loose, it wasn't like if at the zoo, if a tiger gets loose at the zoo, I mean, it's crazy time. When the kid fell into the moat, you know, that gorilla got killed. If these animals were worked with hands-on, it would be a whole different scenario, because a zookeeper can jump in, that animal listens and goes, oh, that's my person. Or people aren't as foreign to them as they are when they're hands off. Now, if you never share space with the animal and they are always used to you being on the outside, when you step into their territory, everything changes. They're like, oh, it's go time. And then it gets dangerous. But if they grow up and you're sharing space and you're like, oh, you respect me, I respect you, we share it, they treat it differently. And it's not so, to me, it's less dangerous, although people will argue that, but that's the way I feel about it.
It kind of reminds me of with the Tiger King, when Joe.
What a horrible show.
I know, right? It was awful, but I just wanted to say, he said that whenever a baby tiger was born, he always wanted to be there, to be the first one to get their hands on the tiger. He was like, I don't know, it just reminded me of, like, he was making sure that they were connected to him in some way. And that's why he was always hands-on with the animals. So to keep his spot of importance, you know what I mean? So I don't know.
And it all depends on which animal. Like some animals can stay with their moms for a long time and you can interact with them, because that's what we do with elephants. I mean, depending on how the mom treats the baby, they can stay with the mom for a long time while you interact with them. And as long as the mom trusts you, usually they don't care. Tigers is a little different. Sometimes but again, sometimes they let them stay with the moms and nurse for a while and then they pull them, or sometimes they pull them right away, because when an animal never learned to be in a herd or be around another mother that had a baby, sometimes it doesn't go well, and they'll either eat or kill their baby because they don't know what to do. It's a foreign thing to them. So when you're dealing with that situation, you're always trying to feel out whether the mom is actually going to do a good job, or if you're going to have to come in and take the baby real quick. But the Tiger King, oh, what a show. That really hurt, because they did just take two extremes. And they were like, let me just show you the most extreme two people we can show you.
Yes.
And then they did like a horrible, and then they tried to make the other guy with the wives look as crazy as they could look. And I'm like, oh gosh, you guys stop. Because there are a lot of private owners in the world like me. And like, I have many friends that are like, we're here. We're right here. We don't have multiple wives. We're not crazy. We're not trying to kill each other. We're right here. But Carol Baskin is absolutely an evil person.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. You know,
she's really bad.
That's Netflix though. Cause I mean, any documentary that you find on Netflix is something that is marketed for entertainment purposes. It's not really like you have to, it's not
Of course. But
it's
they gave so much to work with. I mean,
yeah.
between him and her, they gave so much to work with. It's like,
I know.
now,
Well, that was during quarantine, and I eventually I listened to it on Netflix while I was working, and I was like, oh, and then I got done, and I was like, oh my goodness, I can never get this time back. What a waste of time.
I thought it was definitely worth. I had to watch it because I knew
Sure.
Joe Exotic. I met him a few times. And although he's eccentric, I thought he was. I mean, when I saw his stuff, he always did try to have big facilities for his cats and stuff. And I feel like he really did care about his cats from what I knew of him.
Yeah.
But what I think people don't realize is that these animal rights activists like Carol Baskin, they attack and attack and attack. And although she played the innocent girl, she's not just attacked him. She's attacked friends of mine, and she's attacked women that are underage that do cat acts. And she's attacked a lot of people. And when you have thousands of followers and you tell them where somebody is working and what they're doing, I mean, we go somewhere, sometimes we have to have a security team to watch us from those people because they would rather poison our animals than let them live because they think the sweet release of death would release them from the prison of living with us. And so we have to watch for this all the time. And so I know that Joe Exotic took it to an extreme, maybe, which I still don't believe that he did that. I think he was set up. But either way,
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
I can understand the how hard she pushed him because she attacked him the hardest. And when you're living your life and you're running a zoo and you're just trying to do the best and you're trying to breed cats and you're trying to like live out your dream while somebody just attacks you doing the exact same thing, just trying to put a twist on it because that's all they're doing. All the sanctuaries do the same thing. They use their animals to get profit, but they don't actually give back. You know, I mean, they're not really doing all like sanctuaries make millions. I mean, that woman has a lot of money and she's not making bigger facilities for her cats. I mean, I've seen pictures of her facility and it's disgusting. And I don't understand how she passes inspections because I know I've picked out a few things that if I was one of the inspectors, I'd be like, this needs to be fixed. This needs to go further in the ground. This needs to happen. And yet she passes inspections. I don't know how.
Well, and like you said, I think you can, if somebody has a loud enough voice and you get enough people to scream with you, you can really make somebody else look bad. And I just love that. I mean, my platform isn't huge by any means, but I just knew even when I started doing these remote interviews just a couple of months ago, I was like, I gotta have Lauryn on to talk about, because that meant a lot to me, even from 8 years ago when you came on my Instagram post and said, hey, I want you to know the truth about elephants in the circus, and everybody should want to know.
And you were doing a good job holding your own. And when I came on there, you were doing a good job. I was like, yeah, I get it. Because you were like, whoa, don't you come on my page.
Well, I'm always open to changing my mind about anything, but I want to have, and someone's experience is going to mean way more to me than, oh, I read this on the internet somewhere. You know what I mean?
Right. That's what it really should mean something, which I'm shocked because I have people on my social media constantly telling me to educate myself. And I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah.
I'm like, you think your Google search is going to outdo my lifetime of experience? You really do think this? And then some of them really do. And we have theories pop up left and right. And then animal rights groups will put some kind of a background to make it look like it's a medical, like real thing.
Yeah.
Like they say, riding elephants now, that's become a thing within the last 7 years. It's popped up. They're like, riding elephants is bad for their spine. Their spine is looks like this when you don't see meat. And like, yeah, but there's also meat and muscle and like, it's not just their skeleton. It's pretty similar to a horse, the same way. And I'm like, and if it crippled them, then I mean, I don't know what's going on with her. She's walking great, doing great. I've had vets that I've talked to, but yet I'm going to come on here and animal rights groups because they're blasting it. And I guess if you scream something loud enough times, it just becomes the truth for these people. And it sucks because you have such a little tiny handful of people with the truth. that aren't being heard. Nobody cares to listen. They don't want to hear it. It's not enough drama for them. I think no matter what, people are pulled to the knee-jerk reaction of what makes them feel emotional faster than what's reasonable or what's fact. And because sometimes the fact and the reasonable is not as exciting as the other side.
Well, and so I want to wrap this up with you, but I wanted to ask you, can people come and visit the Elephant Oasis?
Yes, we have just recently, because of COVID, we have opened, but it's always going to be a small group. It's going to be 6 people at a time, and it's for appointments only. Like, I mean, you have to call and make a reservation for it, and you can come out and see her. What we do is we offer a ride through the forest. It's really cool. It's something that is definitely not something you get in America a lot, but it's this kind of cool like trek through the forest. And then we have fancy picture time with her where you can take pretty fancy pictures with her. And then you get to feed her, and just you get to also see teeth that she has lost. They're really huge and really cool. And then, you know, just teach people about the elephants in America and the problems that they're facing, places that they can support, and things like that. So that's what we offer, and you can get it at elephantoasis.org is our website. We also, on the website, we sell elephant footprints that are really cool, and we sell elephant kisses that are super cute. I'm working on getting both of those things on water bottles and on hoodie sweaters. So those things I'm working on, because a lot of my followers are young kids that don't have the money for, like, because our elephant footprints are really expensive, because I'm not going to make her do it all day, and also like it's very hard to get them as pristine and stuff, so they're pretty expensive. But I'm trying to figure out how to get the print downscaled and on stuff so that you can still buy stuff that has her actual print on it, but it's more affordable for people that want it, but want it on something different.
Yeah, or like a pendant. That'd be so cute. Like an elephant.
That'd be hard to break it down that far. Like it's like 15 by 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But I would totally buy a sweatshirt. So is there a donation button on there as well? Can people donate?
So I don't have a donation button. I feel very strange about donations as of right now. I don't know what the future is going to bring. I have no idea of this year and how bad it's going to get or what, because we did go a whole year without income. I have always planned for like doomsday, because I'm like that. I'm always saving. So I don't know when our next fair would be booking or whatever. So I feel weird about asking people for money for no reason. Now I know I have animals that need help and stuff that do need, but I always want to give something if I'm getting something. It's just the way I am, and we're both fit, capable of working. Like, she is totally capable of, giving back too. So I feel that if people, want to help, they can always buy a footprint, or they can buy a kiss, and then they can get something out of it. I don't know what the future holds. I'm not sure that I won't come to that place where I'm like, okay, please give me money, people. Like, I don't know.
Right. What is
right now? I'm not there yet, because I have a hard time asking for money when I do know that the world does need money in certain places. It's hard for me, being a healthy, capable person, to ask people just to donate. It's something that's very hard. I do want my animals to have the best. I want to always make sure that they're provided for. As of right now, the website's working out really good, but if it ever comes to that, with the fact that a lot of people can't book because they're scared of COVID and stuff, if it comes to I am screwed, then I will maybe get on there and be like,
here's a GoFundMe, or here's something like that.
I don't know. But as of right now, I'm just gonna try not to do that yet. I feel weird about it.
So, but yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're doing really good, and I'm really glad that we got to talk, and you got to see the elephants, and you just got to explain everything that goes on with that. So I'll make sure that I post your information with all this stuff so people can find you. And
I'll also message you the links. Like, I'll just message you, that way you can remember them.
Perfect. Then I can just copy and paste. Then we'll come out and visit so we can see. That would be so
really the best elephant. She's got a lot of character.
Yeah.
So many ways. She's very quirky.
That'll be awesome. So, So Lauren, I'm gonna let you go, and I'm gonna end this podcast and say, just to remind people, to love elephants. No, that
Yes,
healthy looks different on everybody. Yes, and to appreciate all the different types of fitness that there are.
yes, yes. Even if it's at Planet Fitness. No.
You're terrible. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.